I accidentally ate too many calories for the past couple months. And you might be wondering, how does that even happen? Did I accidentally trip and fall into a McDonald's and started eating? No, that's not what happened. But it was an honest mistake on my end where I just was not paying attention to what I was putting in to MyFitnessPal. So I have been using MyFitnessPal for years now. And because of that, MyFitnessPal has joined me on many ups and downs and changes throughout my life. And I did not do the best job of accurately reflecting that in the app. So when you are putting in your goals in MyFitnessPal, you have the options of putting in your starting weight and then your current weight and then your goal weight, your weekly goal, and then activity level in the goals section. So my problem is I just completely misunderstood my activity level, and I had myself as active, which would have made sense 2 years ago when I had a more physically demanding job and when I was working on my feet. Now I have a desk job. I sit and I'm on the computer all day, so I'm not as active. I should have kept that in mind when looking up what the different activity levels are and what that even means in the first place. So let me backtrack. When putting in activity level, I thought that meant to include if you exercise and if you walk and all that stuff, just all of that bundled together. And when putting that in, I'm like, oh yeah, I go to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week, and sometimes I play basketball. There's days where I have 14,000 step days and whatnot. So yeah, totally I'm active, right? But the problem is it doesn't actually calculate your calories that way. Your activity level is based off of how many, for MyFitnessPal, I should say, it's based off of how many steps per day that you do just in general, no matter what. If you do below 8,000 steps, you are considered lightly active. And if you're below, I think 4,000, something like that, then you're not active at all. And I'm just going to look this up one more time. See, and when I'm looking it up, like it's not even really that clear on how to choose the activity levels in these articles. Okay, I looked up how many steps per day is considered lightly active, and 5,000 to 7,499 steps per day is considered low active, and then somewhat active is 7,500 steps to 9,999 steps per day. And then active is more than 10,000 steps a day, and then highly active would be more than 12,500 steps per day. So my range is low active for sure. My average steps per day is around 6,000, and that's like just regular everyday living and the little bit of walking that I do just to get my body moving just a little bit and get myself out of funks. But it's not as many calories burned as I thought that would be for my everyday energy expenditure. So in MyFitnessPal, I was putting in my level as if I were doing more than 10,000 steps a day, which is so false because it fluctuates heavily and my average is 6,000. On a busy day, then yeah, I'll touch on like 10, 12, 14. But that's not every day and that's not all the time. So I shouldn't consider that as my regular. With that in mind, I put myself in a huge calorie surplus. My calorie intake was, and I'm gonna look it up, it was forgiving, I should say, first and foremost. And I was doing my best to stick to it, but then what made me realize something was wrong was when I would go and work out and then the calorie amounts would just be ridiculous. I'm trying to look up a day. Okay, yeah. My goal from before was 2,390 calories, which is way more than I need. My current new goal is at a nice, comfortable 1,840 calories. So that's a huge difference. That's not including adding exercise to that. That's just baseline just to get through the day and just have normal functions properly fed with calories. 2,300 is steep, and it makes a lot of sense why I was having difficulty with body fat and approaching 30% body fat and not seeming to lose fat as quick as I wanted to, or worse yet, as I was in the bulking phase, it felt like I was like eating too much and it was hard to eat food and whatnot. So that makes a lot of sense now. It's because I was eating in a proportion that was not even meant for my body or my activity level anyways. Now that's fixed. Very doable now. So doable. Like, it makes so much sense. And this new calorie goal is a combination of the calories that I wasn't supposed to be eating, so that brought me down. And then I'm also eating in a slight calorie deficit as well. So that put me from 2,300 to the 1,800 now. So I don't think I need to deepen it any deeper than that. It's already been showing a lot of promise and relief eating like this, because now I feel as though I'm eating portions that make sense for my body. And it doesn't feel like I'm stuffing myself too, which is, I'm so tired of food. I'm so tired of eating food. And I say that because it feels like it consumes my life. When I was trying to get to that calorie amount, I had to figure out, how am I going to make sure I eat enough so that my muscles don't go and, I don't know, shrink or something. I don't know. It was crazy. But I then started to get worried. Okay, if I'm eating in a calorie deficit and you need to eat in a calorie surplus to gain muscle, will I still gain muscle even though I'm in a calorie deficit? I did a lot of research on that. And basically the huge takeaway that I've got from the countless videos and things that I've read was to make sure that your diet is in a high protein ratio so that you can sustain holding as much muscle as possible, whatever muscle that you have gained in your bulking season or in your weight gain season or in your calorie surplus season, so that when you are losing body fat, you're not taking away from the muscle that's already established there and you're taking from other sources. That also leads me into the type of cardio that I'm doing now for body fat reduction, which is zone 2 cardio. This type of cardio really taps into a good balance of using body fat as the energy source and not using too much carbs as the source as well. I realized zone 2 training is pretty easy to get into. My personal favorite way of getting into this zone is using the treadmill at a high incline, and I just put on something to watch and boom, next thing you know, I've done zone 2 cardio training as I'm watching my show, and then it's over real quick. It's not meant to be like a super intense level of training. It's supposed to be sustainable. It's supposed to be doable. And that's what I enjoy about it. It's easy on my knees. It burns fat. I can watch something while I'm doing it. I can still have a conversation, and it's getting me to the goals that I want to get to with my physique. So I've started this roughly about 2-ish, maybe 3-ish weeks ago. And the biggest thing I noticed was my heart. Prior to this, I didn't realize how underutilized it was, because as soon as I spent some time in zone 2 training, my heart in the beginning, it was like sore. Like how you would go lift weights and you get sore after. Yeah, my chest was sore for a good day or two, but after a while it got better and I got used to it, and it was just a huge wake-up call that I was like, all the weightlifting that I was doing before, all the training that I was doing before that I thought was intense, it was like not even doing what I thought it was for heart conditioning. So definitely important for people that are into weightlifting and wanting to improve their physique. You want to make sure that your health is also improving as well. So you don't want to neglect your heart. Imagine going to the gym and not being able to like breathe properly or be able to run if you need to, like those basic things. It's just a wild concept to me. So this little story was just a way of sharing how you should really make sure that every piece of information that you're using to help guide your fitness journey is accurate. Doing the research needed, first of all, that would tell you if what you're doing is wrong. Because honestly, I would have kept going if I didn't have a feeling like, wow, I have been on this diet path for X amount of time and I haven't seen results. Maybe there's something that I need to adjust. So it was really just that prompted me to go and check and see what I did wrong with my nutrition and with the amount of calories that I'm taking in, like where I can tweak that. And that was a huge thing. So we'll see how I do in the next like 2 months. I'm super glad to be at this calorie number now, because now when I do go and exercise, the deficit actually matters. And also too, this is a prime example of how nutrition, you should look at nutrition before you look at your exercising and increasing more activity and things like that. Like, it's always easiest to just go the nutrition route first and then use fitness as a tool or an additional accessory to make sure that your calorie deficit stays as a calorie deficit. Like for today, my food intake requires me to probably go have a 30-minute walk and then I'm going to be back in my deficit. So that's way great versus before I would have had to have a whole hour cardio session in addition to walking all of these steps. That's too much. My knees do not want that. And I just don't have time for that. I am a 9-to-5 career girly. We ain't got time for that. I hope this video helps you, and let me know if you have questions down below, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.